Hey everybody, I'm Sid Tokar with Chambersburg Community Theater, and if your family loves peanut butter as much as mine does, then I've got the perfect recipe to chase away the holiday humbugs. We'll start with 1 1/4 cups of brown sugar, half a cup of vegetable shortening, and 3/4 cup of creamy peanut butter. Now if your family likes it chunky, feel free to put in chunky peanut butter instead. I personally like the little extra crunch of chunky peanut butter, but my family prefers creamy, so we're going to make it that way. I'm going to put it in the stand mixer and cream these ingredients together. You can tell everything's done when it's nice and fluffy and everything has changed to a lighter brown color. Now we're going to add in 3 tablespoons of milk. One tablespoon of vanilla, and 1 egg. Beat those together. When that's well blended and nice and fluffy, I've got in my bowl over here, I've mixed together, just fluffed it together with a fork, 1 3/4 cup of flour, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, and 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda. We're going to slowly add that to our mixture until it's well combined, but don't overmix. And that's pretty much all it needs. This last little bit of flour, I'm going to go ahead and incorporate that with my spatula. We'll clean off the beater here, we'll get that flour incorporated, and then we're ready to scoop our dough out onto our baking pans. You can line your cookie trays with a cooking tray liner, a Silpat, or parchment if you have it, or put them directly on an ungreased cookie sheet. We're going to take our little scooper here, because I like to have nice evenly distributed amounts of dough for each cookie, and place it in our happy little rows on our baking sheet. I've got my oven preheated to 375 degrees, and oh man, this dough just smells really good already. It's making me kind of hungry. Once you've got your baking tray loaded up, go ahead and take your fork, and we're going to make a little crisscross pattern across the top of the cookies and flatten them down just ever so slightly. I like mine thick so that they come out nice and soft and chewy and delicious. I'm not a big fan of the crunchy cookie. Alright, looks like I'm ready to pop these bad boys in the oven, and they're only going to cook for about 8 minutes. You don't want to overcook them if you want that nice soft chewiness in the middle. My mother passed away in 2016, and this recipe comes from her recipe book that she made for us several years ago, Mom's Recipes, Rosemary Tokar. And she went through and typed up all of the recipes that she had in her red recipe file that I remember very fondly from childhood. We've got a whole section in here on cookies, and her irresistible peanut butter cookie recipe has been a staple in our house as long as I can remember. So these cookies are in fond memory of my dear mother, Rosemary Tokar. I ended up cooking these for about 10 minutes because mine ended up a little bit thick, but I just love them that way. They're ever so slightly browned on the edges. Now we're just going to set them on a rack to cool and enjoy them with a nice tall glass of cold milk. Mmm. Ooh, those look delicious and they smell beautiful. Now I just got to get me some milk. Hey, what happened to my cookies?